pass is intercepted at the goal line by Malcolm Butler.
Toss to White. He's in! Patriots win the Super Bowl!
Welcome to Patriots Touchback Podcast.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another edition here of the Patriots Touchback Podcast. It is me, your host, Karl. I am joined, as always, by my two guests, Luke and Nick. First of all, I'd like to apologize for last week. We were pretty much all on IR last week, but we've recovered. We're back and healthy again. Nick, Luke, how are we doing, and how have you enjoyed your weekend? You can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself.
You couldn't. I tried. I'm calling you out on that one. Throwing you straight under the bus.
I've had a good weekend. I've had a busy weekend. Apart from dropping one of my earbuds into a bucket of paint, I've had a good weekend. Can't complain too much.
Good. Patriots win. Can as much as my character on here would tell you, I'm happy that the Patriots got a win.
No, absolutely. We are delighted that they got the win after going 1-3 in the first 4 games, which we kind of knew that was going to be the case. We bounced back with a win, not just any win, but a fantastic shutout victory against those pesky Lions. I couldn't be any more happier for this. I mean, offensively, we look very, very sluggish, but defensively, oh my good grief. I mean, there's only one player I'm going to start off with this defense, okay? And that's Matt Judon. Judon is just a wrecking machine right now. He's now tied for the lead in sacks with 6 on the season now. I think he's tied with Alex Highsmith from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, this was just a relentless display of our defense is starting to come to fruition now at the right time. And yes, I know a lot of people were saying that the Lions were the number 1 scoring offense in the NFL, but they are the 32nd ranked worst defense in the NFL. But I did say this is the first time this season that the Lions will be going up against a proper, legitimate defense. So legit, we shut them out. So I don't think we can really complain about that. We'll get on to Bailey Zappe in the offense in a second, but let's talk a little bit about the other defensive side of the ball, because that was pretty much where it all happened. Jack Jones, back-to-back interceptions now in his rookie season. Is he going to be our corner of the future? Because he's already making plays, and he's only had 2 games.
I hope so. I think we have to kind of, from the draft picks we've made over the last few years, and particularly with Marcus and Jack being taken this year, Marcus and Jack Jones, as if I know them, Marcus and Jack Jones, it'd be great to get a legitimate starter out of one of them. And I think, not saying Marcus can't be at all. I mean, he absolutely could be, but to be able to see. It's not often we've seen that kind of, I suppose, instant impact from a defender, especially a defensive back from a draft pick over the last few years. We really haven't. It's cornerback typically has been a position we've struggled to draft at. And I think so far, he's been good. Now, is he another Asante Samuel where he kind of, he does his own thing and he ball hawks, and Belichick kind of doesn't like guys that go off script too much? Now, if you're that good and you've that good instincts, he will let you play. He will let you play. He will let you do it. But if it leads to, we'll say, Trevon Diggs, for the Cowboys last year's situation, because he's been much better this year apparently, where he's making plays but giving up tons of yards and being a target, then we could see him reeled back in a small bit. But sticking with the positive, fantastic so far. With the yes, he's giving up plays, but you need to generate turnovers, particularly when you have Mac Jones turning over the ball so much. which I'm sure he won't do later in the year when he comes back. But so far, he'd been a bit of a turnover machine.
I think that's the point that was being made last week after last week's game. Obviously, Karl, I know you said with us not being on this last week, but they were some of the notes I had on after last week's game, in that Jack is improving beyond what I expected from him, and he has that big, he almost looks for that big play. You said, Luke, about being a ball hawk. It's almost as if he's looking for that mega play, that top interception, and sort of try and beat the ball to where it's supposed to be before it's got there. And there's sometimes where he leaves a few yards on the field where he misses that big play. He turns around and gets his man anyway, but meanwhile his man's got 3-4 yards up the field. So sometimes I think he needs to not go for that mega. We say in football our keeper does TV save. It's a routine save. He didn't need to dive and make it look good. And I think that's sometimes what he does. He tries to make his interception or his tackle look better than it needs to be. Just do your job, as Bill would say. But I think when you look at, we lost Gilmore, I didn't expect that kind of replacement, and he can only get better if he listens to those that coach him. So I guess the future's bright, and you can't knock a draft pick that's performing well when you consider the subpar performances of recent draft picks. So trending upwards, I guess.
Trending upwards massively. Jack Jones, I really hope he just continues this as the season goes on. I hope he continues this week against Cleveland, because that's going to be where we're going to probably need him for that game as well. A little bit more on the defensive side of the ball. Jared Goff's life got made a living hell. The pass rush was just absolutely relentless. I know we spoke about, I know we talked about Matt Judon already, how much he's now tied for leader in sacks, but Dietrich Weiss Jr. had pressures. Our new linebacker, Raekwon McMillan, he had pressures as well. Same with Matt Wilson Sr. as well. Christian Barmore, he had finally, we get to saw Christian Barmore actually have a very productive game. He's been very quiet the first 4 games. He's had a subpar game. I think Barmore's being used really as like an Adam Butler type of role, rather than hunting down the one-on-ones. So I think he's now staying as the proper defensive tackle, saying to stop the run and so on. I will be honest with you. I still think Christian Barmore, still think he needs Lawrence Guy next to him. I think there were times where he could have gone in to make a stop and didn't. So I think Lawrence Guy is still missing in that part. And we did give up a few run gains to the Detroit running attack on some certain plays. And I think, as I said, I think Lawrence Guy, you look at most players and you look at the star players. The real players that really miss are the key contributors who actually stick a pin in the opposing offense. And Lawrence Guy is that one guy. I personally think right now the defensive side of the ball is going to get stronger. It's going to get better as the season progresses. And yeah, this could be a watershed moment for New England, where the defense really starts coming into his own. It's like, oh, okay, we better plan accordingly to this.
Go on, carry on. No, you carry on.
Okay, well, which we can't really say much to on the offense. Now, before I get into the steam train who literally ran the Lions into the ground over the weekend, we need to talk about the rookie. We need to talk about Bailey Zappe. 181 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. To be honest, the interception was not on Bailey Zappe. That was Nelson Aguilar having hands of stone. He put it in the hands and it ended up in the air and got brought down by the opposing defender. What was your take on Zappe? Because I was watching that game and thought he looked composed. He didn't look flustered. I think he didn't get pressured much at all. It didn't get pressured once by the Lions front seven, which is really, really surprising when you've got a second overall pick in Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan coming at you. But Trent Brown dealt with him with ease, really. But what was your take on Bailey Zappe? I thought he had a solid game. He didn't turn the ball over, and as I said, he felt calm and felt composed. Threw a nice little lob up to Jacoby Myers for the touchdown. There were a couple of throws he could have missed. There was one where Tyquan Thornton had literally a beat in the corner. If Zappe had seen it a little more clearly, he could have unleashed it, and I think Thornton would have took that to the house. I'll show you the play later on when we finish backstage. Luke, what was your take on Bailey Zappe?
I think he had a good game. I'm not going to be one of these people that's calling for him to start over Mac Jones or anything like that. I think the offense was set up for him. It was almost kind of like a one read, boom, get the ball out. The offensive line played fantastically, but I think it was just there. They obviously were running a very simplified version of the playbook, and I think he with what the expectations were and what he was asked to do, he did exactly what he needed to do, and he did. I don't want to say he did everything well, but he did what he needed to do to win the game. He didn't turn the ball over. He didn't make stupid throws. I'd be perfectly happy if, we see another game similar out of him this week, maybe if he's starting against the Browns. And then we see him again next year as our backup in the preseason, and maybe Hoyer moves on, and you have a guy sitting back there that you're comfortable with, that if Mac goes down in the future, that, we know that Zappe can stand in and run the offense in a reasonable way, and also look exactly like Mac Jones. When I say look exactly like Mac Jones, I mean his face looks exactly like Mac Jones's face. I don't mean his play, because Mac obviously is able to do a lot more. He's much more advanced, and he's got a better arm. But no, can't really criticize Zappe, but also not one like cool the Jets on a lot of this talk on him. Like, should he start over Mac Jones? No, he should not. Unless somebody wants to argue.
Unless Nick's about to throw a spanner in the works. I can see the grin on his face. So.
I know. I'm grinning. I'm grinning because who was it 2 weeks ago saying don't play Benjamin Button, don't play Benjamin Button? Who was saying that? I believe it was me.
It was you. But can I just stop you there? That was very fortunate of you, because he did play and he ended up getting knocked out. He ended up getting Drew Bledsoe. He ended up getting Drew Bledsoe, and then comes Zappe.
Yeah, and he played
well. What I'm saying is obviously my gift of future reading said that Zappe was going to be this good.
I'm not saying Hoyer voodoo doll, I think, Nick. That's what it was. I'm not saying he should start in front of Mac Jones, of course not. But I said that Zappe should have started in front of Hoyer. Now, I would like to think that point was vindicated this week. When he came out of the draft, the two things that were big pluses on his card were his decision making and his composure, and both of those were in abundance this week. Because yes, like you said, Luke, it was a simplified offense. It was fairly subpar compared to the complicated ones that Bill sometimes drafts. But there was a lot of running, but when he could make a play, he did make a play. He made the good decision when he needed to. You say, Karl, his interception wasn't on him, and you're right. It was more Aguilar juggling. So I think if you're asking somebody to stand in,
then he's done everything that he's been asked. So can't complain.
No, we can't complain. Zappe was solid. Will he play this week though against the Browns? Only time will tell.
Yes,
that'll be a very
want him to, because it's like you listen to what the beat writers are saying when they're seeing him in training, and he can't move on that leg, and he'd just be a sitting duck back there for Myles Garrett, and I just think like we've got to think of the medium to long term with him, and when I say that, I mean long term, years down the road, and also medium long term this season. If we can get by with playing Zappe this weekend, and what's probably not an explosive offense, maybe we only need to put 20 points on the board against the Browns, and the defense plays well, we might be able to get another win that way. You don't want Mac to come back too early, and it just lingers for the full season. I mean, it's 4 to 6 weeks for a reason, for coming back from this type of injury. He shouldn't be coming back this early, I don't think.
I assumed Mac wouldn't play this weekend anyway. So it really leaves you Zappe, or I don't know where. I haven't heard that Hoyer's cleared protocol yet.
He's on IR, so he's
on
gone
IR,
for another
right.
few weeks.
So it's I can't see Mac being fit, so it's Zappe all the way. The insect repellent. Let's go.
Yeah.
Indeed. Okay, let's move on to a little bit more of the offense before we have our final notes here. I said in an episode, probably when we first started, I thought I love Damian Harris, but Rhomandre Stevenson, to me, I have described as like Gavin Blunt 2.0. Someone who is an every down back that can take 25 to 30 carries and run the run and use this running game as his own. It's unfortunate. And he has a hair as well. It's unfortunate Damian Harris is now out with a hamstring injury, so we're not going to see him now probably for about 2, maybe 3 games. But I think we probably won't see him now till after the bye week, if I'm now more honest with you. But Rhomandre Stevenson, as soon as Harris went down, he took that running game and he absolutely ran with it. I think it was a little stat that brought up here where he had 111 yards after breaking contact.
Yeah.
The only other running back that's doing that in the NFL currently right now is Nick Chubb, who ironically we face this coming week. So 161 yards he had. He didn't have a touchdown, but I think the offense was just stalling at the time, just couldn't finish off the drives. I thought he was just outstanding. That 50-yard run was just majestic. And
he's been threatening to do it.
He has been. Well, the thing is, he's done it twice last year. He did it twice last year. He had 100 yards rushing against Cleveland, ironically, and then rushed for 122 against Jacksonville, if I'm not mistaken. So it's not like he can't do it. He has done it before. But now he's going to get a humongous workload come his way. Obviously, Pierre Strong, we're going to finally get to see. Eventually, probably a little bit of JJ. Well, I like to think so because he's the only other back that we got. You got JJ Taylor, and you've also got
Kevin Harris.
Kevin Harris, thank you very much. But yeah, I think we might be able to see Pierre Strong this Sunday, which will be interesting because obviously we drafted him and he was the fastest running back in the 40-yard dash. But that means Jack and you know what, because it doesn't matter if you're fast, you need to be very good in the free cone drill for your great agility and your twittiness and that. But
I think for just touching on the Pierre Strong thing, I've been known to be wrong so many times when it comes to and trying to second guess what Belichick will do. But I do think he has a mirror marked for that third down back role, and maybe he might be in the game for that. But I don't think he's a kind of a like for like kind of replacement for Harris. I think you're more looking at a plodder type player in terms of like JJ, or bringing Kevin Harris up off the practice squad now. Also, they seem to the fact that they cut Kevin Harris. I think that probably tells you what they think of him. I don't think they think he's all that great. So you could see him. I don't know, I'm sitting on the fence here, but I wouldn't be. What I'm saying is, I suppose I wouldn't be surprised if they just gave Rhomandre the rock for pretty much the whole game, and maybe just gave a drive of JJ Taylor or two, and that be that, and maybe had Pierre Strong active for the game, but only as a break glass in case of emergency.
I think he's going. I think Stevenson's going to continue on, and let's just see how Strong gets on. Just don't fumble the ball for God's sake. I know what we like with rookie running backs and so on. We don't want another Damian Harris situation from last year. The receivers. Now, there isn't really that
technically
much
that wasn't a fumble. He had broken the play, and that was a touchdown.
So it was ref ball then. So you're blaming ref ball.
Yes.
Oh, dear. We've had enough ref ball this week, okay, with other previous games. But this isn't our podcast to discuss this, okay? That's for the full 10 yards to do that. Right, so let's talk a little bit of the receivers. Now, there isn't really much to talk about with the receivers because obviously the ball only got thrown for 181 yards. But Jakobi Meyers returned, and he got over 100 yards, and he got a touchdown. So
Jacoby's the man. He's just the man.
Look, I'll put this out right now. Everyone's screaming like we don't have a number one receiver. They're expecting something flashy. They want someone like a Devontae Adams, a Tyreek Hill, a Mike Evans. They're looking for someone who is big, imposing, or very speed and very quick. I actually put a tweet out yesterday after that game saying Jakobi Meyers is, I can describe in one word, reliable. He is a reliable number one receiver. He is basically our version of Julian Edelman. Someone where you can get the ball out quickly to him and he can make yards after the catch. That's what Jakobi Meyers is. That's what a lot of people are just getting a little bit confused and a little bit misconstrued about. Jakobi Meyers is our number one receiver. I know we got Devontae Parker and so on and Nelson Aguilar, but Nelson Aguilar now looks like he's on borrowed time because guess who arrived onto the scene? Tyquan Thornton, and he made 2 catches in the game. It was only short ones, but it's very early days for him yet. But it was also good to see Hunter Henry finally get actually put in a bit of a productive performance. 4 catches for 54 yards. Obviously, Jono Smith, so he was basically playing with one tight end all game. So it was good to see Hunter actually finally get some targets his way again, and we kind of needed to because we kind of missed him these last pretty much since the start of the season. We've missed him really.
And I think from that point of view, is that we've been struggling getting in the red zone, and he's the red zone guy. He's the guy Mac goes to anyway in the red zone, and I think that's kind of his role really. With the Patriots is to be the red zone target. He had 9 touchdowns last year, and they weren't long plays from what I remember. They were mostly short distance ones, so they're within the red zone. Hopefully they can maybe give him some of Jonnu's work that Jonnu and theoretically was supposed to be getting in between the 20s. It'd be great to see him back. Just going back to what you're saying there about Aguilar as well. It looked like he went out injured as well after the fumble / interception, whatever you want to call it. Well, it was technically an interception. So his injury couldn't have come at a worse time for him personally, because Thornton just came back and he took Aguilar's reps, I think, after that, because Thornton wasn't really seen, I think, before that. Not much anyway. I'm open to correction on that, but
he was out of a collarbone. It was out of a collarbone injury. So
no, I mean, in this game, he hadn't had many reps before Aguilar got injured, and then once Aguilar got injured, Thornton's reps kind of went up. So it'll be interesting to see now. how Thornton gets on, because realistically, he's the future, really, isn't he?
He's going to be our new deep threat, someone who can someone who can actually stretch the back line, and that will hopefully open up the likes of Kendrick Bourne and Devontae Parker into the intermediate routes, as well as right, one last point to go before we move into our preview of the Browns game. I need to go back to the defense, okay, because I haven't seen this in my time of watching the NFL. The Patriots defense stopped the Lions 6 times on 4th down. Now, I give my props to the Patriots defense because that was just simply outstanding from them. I can't thank them any more from that. But for the love of me, if I was a coordinator and I'm looking back at that thinking, why couldn't I take them field goals? I mean, 5 out of the 6 4th down conversions that the Lions had, they were in field goal range. And I know it's a case of you're trying to put touchdowns on, and you're trying to keep the game closer. And I get that you're trying to chase the game, but just take the goddamn points, for crying out loud. Here's the thing: if you take those 5 field goals and say I think it'll be 15-26 in the 4th quarter, you're down by 11. I think it was about 8.5 minutes to go then. You only need 1 drive to get a touchdown, get a quick turnover, or a quick 3 and out on the Patriots defense, and then you've got another drive to somehow take the lead. Coaches nowadays are so clued up in these fancy analytics, and this is why coaches in the NFL are getting too cute. It doesn't work. Brandon Staley is going to get fired from the Chargers at some point for his baffling 4th down conversions all the time.
Well, I was going to say it's all analytics, because there's somebody in a little room in a broom closet, who graduated from Harvard or wherever, and he's cracked his spreadsheet open with his multiple servers, and he's ran every scenario possible, and he says that you've got to go for it on 4th down because 56% chance says that's better than the other way. And that's unfortunately the way it's going. It's all numbers.
And I bet the person that writes that spreadsheet hasn't watched a game of football in his flipping life.
Well,
he's probably been watching University Challenge or something along those lines. Because it's definitely not watching NFL football. It sounds like Luke, to be honest with you. But I digress.
I'm staying silent during this spreadsheet slander, to be honest. Not having it. No, I think you're right in what you're saying, that there's coaches that are going for too often, and do you know what they're going to do by going for it and failing? They're going to ruin their own percentages, because every time they mess it up, that's another percentage down or another point of a percentage down that ruins the success rate. But going back to Dan Campbell, doesn't strike me so much as a cerebral spreadsheet kind of guy. He might chew a spreadsheet or something like that. But I don't know. I think to be fair to him, the first 2, I agree with you, Karl. He should have kicked the field
Take
goals.
the points. Just take the points.
100%. Can't argue with you. The other 4, I think they were chasing the game at that point, and they had not put any points up on the board, and they were behind.
But we were putting through field goals. We didn't score. We did score a touchdown. Well, obviously, we had a scoop and score from Karl Duggar, but that was a defensive touchdown. When it comes to the offense, all our offense kept doing was just stalling drives. Luckily, we have a reliable kicker with Nick Folk, who's just banging them in from under 50 yards.
The problem as well is that they did not have their kicker. Siebert was on IR, and Ellerby is their backup, or their stand-in, and he isn't good at all. And they clearly didn't trust him from any bit of a distance. I reckon if they had gotten within 30, if they were within 30 or 40 yards, they'd have probably done it. But they were, the first 2 that they went for were on the 50-yard. It would have been a 50-yard field goal, 50 to 53, I think, for the 2 of them. And I kind of agree with his call there to go for it. But then sorry, not to go for it, but later on in the game, then they were just chasing, and they kind of they had to do something. Did they have to do it 6 times? Absolutely not. No. Is the point? Like, they should have just taken some points. At some point, you get some points on the board and just say, at least we scored something. But look, you can't argue that the one thing I was listening to everybody's favorite podcast here, Patriots Unfiltered, other than obviously Patriots Touchback, and I was listening, and Fred Kirsch was saying that one thing Belichick said or didn't say throughout the whole week is that he didn't compliment the coaching. And if you listened to his pregame or any of the press conferences during the week, he never complimented the coaching on the Lions. And after the game, he complimented literally everything about the Lions except for the coaching. And I think that was telling, because I think the coaching won the game for us this week.
Yeah, coaching won the game for us, but hopefully our offense can start finishing off drives. We're going to need to against our opponents. We're going to need to against our opponents this week, and swiftly that easily moves on to our week six matchup on the road against the Cleveland Browns, who are also sitting at 2-3 after their 30-28 loss to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the last time we played the Cleveland Browns was actually last season, and we blew them out 45-17. However, though, there were a couple of absentees, Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. We were up against Ernest Johnson. So this time around, we will be up against those two backs. So they are two different cats when you're going up against these two. Our number one priority for this game, my thing, is personally stopping the run. If you can stop Chubb and Hunt, and you put the ball in Jacoby Brissett's, I nearly said Brisket there, Jacoby Brissett's hands, then you've got a decent half chance of winning the game. All I'll say is as well, though, the Browns will also need to find a way of stopping Rhomandre Stevenson as well, because they gave up 234 yards rushing to Austin Eckler last week. So if Eckler can do that, then be careful, because Stevenson can break tackles and he goes. He's also bigger as well. He can knock people down. So for me, stopping the run is going to be absolutely paramount. The offensive line also needs to be very strong. Now, Trent Brown looks like has got better. Cole Strange, I haven't had a bad word to say about Cole Strange all season. He is becoming our Logan Mankins. He really is. Isaiah Will, I still have my doubts about, but he had a better game. But that O-line has to stay cohesive. They have to keep Bailey Zappe on his feet at all times. They've got two huge pass rushers in Myles Garrett and there's another pass rush again. I've absolutely forgotten.
Clowney.
Thank you, Nick. Yeah, David O'Clowney. Got to stop them from there.
Is he fit? I don't think he's fit. Is he?
If he's not,
he missed last week.
Yeah,
he missed last week.
I think he's been out most of the season.
Okay.
Did you see the pictures of Myles Garrett's car crash?
Yeah,
it was
Have
nasty.
you actually seen?
I don't want to be
to the man to walk away from that.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be his insurance carrier. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that was a nasty crash for him. But he was back on the field.
That size can get in a car that small.
He is an animal. Like, he's brilliant. Yeah. He's absolutely brilliant.
Anyway.
Yeah.
He's a beast. He's a beast. If he plays, he causes trouble whenever he plays and whoever he plays. I don't think anyone's ever stopped him. He's
Garrett will line up
version of TJ Watt.
Yeah, Garrett will line up against Isaiah Wynn. I guarantee you. There's no way he's going to no way he's going on the right hand side to try and get past Trent Brown. That ain't happening. He'll go to Isaiah Wynn's side. Luke, what are your two key points for this? I've already spoke about the running game. The O-line has to stay intact. What else can you think of that in order for us to get this W over the Browns?
I think there's looking at the amount of catches and the way it's kind of spread out amongst the receivers. You've kind of got 4 main guys that catch the ball for them. You've got Cooper and Njoku, who are really their top tier guys. And when I'm talking about tiers, I'm talking about the amount of catches that they have as well. Cooper, obviously, there's everybody knows about him. He's fantastic. If we can lock him down, Njoku, it seems to be for the last few years, he's done nothing, but he's kind of been a middle of the road tight end to poor enough tight end in terms of production. This year, he's 24 catches on 29 targets, which is a hell of a lot. I mean, if you look in there, he's 24 catches. Cooper is 27. So that's kind of their top 2 guys. And then you've got Peoples-Jones has 16. And outside of that, they don't have another wide receiver with more than 5 catches. So realistically, it's run, Cooper and Njoku with Peoples-Jones maybe catching a deep ball. That's really what we need to do to stop them. Just stop the running game and stop the passing game. I mean, how easy is that?
Stop the run, stop the pass.
Just do it, guys. Stop the run, stop the pass, and just make sure they don't kick field goals. I mean, no, in all seriousness, though, if we can lock down Cooper, I said, even though I feel like I regret saying this, I said for the Baltimore game, let Mark Andrews beat us and don't get beaten over the top.
No.
He beat us. He beat us. But I don't think Njoku is Mark Andrews.
Yeah, I think maybe I should have stopped you on that episode and say, you're going to let Mark Andrews roam free? Are you mad? What have you been sniffing?
I was just
he got 2 touchdowns, 120 odd receiving yards. He absolutely destroyed us. So we should have shut him down immediately because they ain't got any receivers. Apart from Devon Duvernay, who sounds just like a song, but that's all they had. But anyway, we're sidetracking here. Nick, what are your key points for this game?
Firstly, I'd love to be in a changing room where head coach O'Brien there says, right, we're going to stop the pass and we're going to stop the run. There you go. Let's go. Great.
You wouldn't mind, Nick. I've coached.
Sounds like a Lee Evans sketch. It just sounds like a Lee Evans sketch.
I've coached defensive backs as well, and I'm just like, yeah, just stop the pass, guys, it'll be fine.
I think if we can force Jacoby out of the pocket and make him move, make him run, don't let him have the time that he needs to pick his pass.
Yeah.
Then I think we're doing something right. He seems to watching the Chargers game last weekend. The more time he had, the more accurate and dangerous he looked. So I think if you can rush him, almost like we did Jared Goff this week, if you can rush him to the left, rush him to the right, and just sort of like try and force him to go where he doesn't want to be, then you've got a chance of him making a mistake. He's always got a Rick in him. So I think that's one way we're going to win. I think the other one is cutting out our own mistakes, because if you are going to try and beat Cleveland, you may well have to ensure that you don't let them have the ball. If that's in a simplified manner, run the ball, and run the clock, and just try and keep the likes of Cooper off to the side. Like people say, to play Mac Holmes, the best way to play Mac Holmes is to keep him on the sideline. So I think if we can defend well and don't make mistakes, and we pressure Jacoby, then I think we've got a chance, and we can all have a beef brisket at the end.
Right. Okay. Let's try and go around the horn then, shall we? So, Luke, are you going to be pessimistic or are you going to fly the flag?
I'm going to fly the flag this week. I think Patriots win.
Hey!
Because you know what? I think, like, to be honest, I think the last 2 weeks they've shown that they can be solid, and I think that there's definitely a bit more of a team there than I thought they were. There's a bit more talent. It's still not high end talent, but there's still some talent there to beat bad teams. I think we're a middling team that can beat up in the bad teams and will get left behind by the good teams. But in saying that, the Browns are kind of a middling / bad team. I think it's probably going to be a 3-point game. And I think if you're a gambling man, whatever the under is on points, go for that, because they're going to be running the ball. Both teams will be running the ball. They're going to be taking time off the clock. And I think the Patriots, whilst Chubb might run all over them, he'll probably just be getting 5 yards a carry, 6 yards a carry. I don't think they'll let him burst for 30 and 40 and 60 yard runs. Hopefully not, anyway.
So what is your prediction?
21-18.
21-18. Okay. Nick, what about you?
I'm going to fly the flag too. I'm going to go New England. I'm going to go 24-17.
I can respect it. Yeah.
I don't have to change my scoreline now because that's what I was going to go for. So yeah, it's a clean sweep. So I've got the Pats winning. So I'm going to go. You said 21-18, Luke. I'm going to go 20-17.
Yeah. Can't argue with that. That's probably actually a better score than mine, to be honest. This is going to be
one, but there's two implications to this. Okay, first of all, you win this, we go 3-3. We go back to 500. We've then given ourselves half a chance now, maybe going on a little bit of a run, because our stretch up to the Vikings game at Thanksgiving does look a little bit easier. Obviously, the Jets have surprised us all of a sudden by smacking up the Finns. So that'll be concerning to deal with. But also as well, if we can knock off Cleveland, that's the tiebreaker for the wild card. So if we was on 10-7 and the Browns finished on 10-7, we take that wild card spot because we got the tiebreaker over Cleveland. That's why this game, you could say, is a 6-pointer. It's basically whoever wins this will have not just their playoff hopes will still be alive, but they will have an upper hand on a team that's also trying to get in there as well. So look, we lost to the Ravens. They're probably going to end up winning the division because they're just awesome at the minute in time. We just got to do what we can. But we've all gone for a Pats win. I did actually watch the Believeland Browns podcast yesterday as well. One guy chose the Pats to win. The other two went for Homo and decided to go for the Browns. So you can understand that there. So it's going to be tight. This is a coin toss game for most people. Yep. But hopefully we come away with a W and go back to an 0500 record. Yep. Okay, Nick, the time is yours. Now, obviously, I know for a fact I forgot to put my scores into you, so I ended up with the same amount of points as the Detroit Lions converted 4th downs. So that's a big fat goose egg, yep. So who won last week, and who have we got for our hot pick 6 this week?
Well, considering you did have a 0, the top score was only 6. Now, when you consider that in week 4, your winning weekly score was 14, to only lose 6 points I think you've done quite well for not playing. So Luke was bottom of the pile with 3.
Yes.
Ollie and DJ hit 4. Henrik hit the heights of 5. But leading us out again is myself with 6.
You keep the book, so you know.
I'm quite happy to show my working out to anybody who wishes to see it.
No, I trust you.
So I'm gonna have my bye week while I'm in Vegas. I don't know. Somebody will have to do this while I'm in Vegas because I won't be able to do it. I'll be too drunk. Highlights from last week. Nobody did well at calling the total number of rushing yards. Mind you, Luke was 2 yards off. In the Lions-Patriots games, you were 2 yards away from nailing it.
Come on, like that deserves something. Like, you know, I spent hours.
A zero in the column.
Yeah,
and in
I
the
thought it was going to be whoever got closest got the point. I mean,
no. In the Giants game, you were 4 yards off. So in two games, the spreadsheet does it all itself. I don't do anything. I just put the numbers in.
Throw me a bone. Give me something.
So there we go. So your week 6 fixtures. So that we have the New England Patriots at the immoral shit stains of Ohio. I'm going to let that linger a little bit because it smells. Oh. The Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. The Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks. The Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. The Cincinnati Bengals at the New Orleans Saints. And I debated about whether we wanted the Atlanta Falcons game, the New York Jets game, or did we want the Bills and the Chiefs? I put the Bills and the Chiefs in.
Correct decision.
Good call.
Yeah, funnily enough, the Jets and the Falcons are two teams that have yet to appear in our predictions. They haven't had a game scheduled yet.
What a surprise. One we call the butt fumble, the other one we cursed.
So they are your 6. While I'm filling in, your bonus point markers this week are the lowest scoring half.
Oh God!
Well, it's actually all right because it's just one.
It's one or two.
1 or 2. Okay. Yeah.
Stop the pass. Stop the run. 1 or 2.
Yeah, easy.
And your other one is total number of punts for both teams.
Oh, this is where I need my punts. This is where I need my ex-co-host from my old channel to help me with because he has a fetish with punts. I swear, every time he sees a punt marathon, he needs a wheelbarrow for the Kleenex and a heat pad on his wrist. But I'm going off topic now, so
your lowest scoring half and the total number of punts.
Okay.
And if we were talking about the immoral shit stains of Ohio, it would be 53 for the total number of. Just replace the P with the C. Yeah. So I've got for the New England game, I've got the second half having more points than the first.
Yeah.
First or second, Karl?
More points, and is it more points or more points? Yeah.
No, it's lowest scoring half. So I've got
lowest scoring
second half having less points than the first half.
I disagree. I think the lowest will be in the first half.
Same as me. Yeah. You can put me down for first half for all of them.
Oh, that adventurous, eh?
Yeah. I've got to get one of them right. Law of
averages. Could get all of them wrong.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So. Right. Okay. So game 2, the Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants.
I think Ravens over Giants. And I think it's going to be 31-17 Ravens. And there's number of punts.
Yeah, go on.
5. Might see a theme with my punts as well.
Right, okay. I'll get me copy paste ready. Well, before we move off, number of punts in the New England game.
Surprisingly, 5. No, actually, I'll go for 6 on that one. I'll go for 6.
Oh, whoa. Hang on.
I know.
Karl.
Seven.
And your score in the Baltimore game?
34-23 Ravens. Most points will be scored in the second half. Punts, I am going to say 4.
I'm going Baltimore again. I'm going 27-24. I don't know what it is about the Giants. There's something. Daboll's got something brewing there, and I don't know what he's feeding them. But so right, the Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks.
I'm gonna go Seahawks 35, Cardinals 31. Stick me down for the first half being the lowest again, and stick me down for 4 points.
Sat back in his chair thinking.
I'm going to say 33-26 Seattle. Again, most points to be scored in the second half. A number of punts. Considering it's going to be quite high scoring, I'm going to say 3. 3 punts.
I'm going to go against you, boys. I'm going Arizona. And just because I don't have any faith in the Seattle Seahawks, to be honest.
Geno Smith, what you on about?
Again, I repeat my statement. I've got no faith in the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think it's going to be that high a scoring game, to be fair. I'm going to go 27-21. And I don't even like going that high, to be honest, but hey. Lowest scoring half will be the first. Total number of punts, I'm going to go with 6. So we move on to Buffalo Bills at the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas.
Oh,
Up on Karl. Yeah, you go. So
me go first. Where is it? At Buffalo or is that Kansas City?
It's at Kansas City.
I hate both these teams. With an unrivaled passion, I hate both these teams. But if I had to
I'm not asking you
choose,
to like them.
I'm gonna go really bold here. 44-41 Chiefs. We're gonna have another epic. We are going to have another epic on our hands. Punts 2.
Lowest scoring half?
Lowest score. Joe, Jesus. I'm going to say first half.
I'm gonna go Buffalo. I'm gonna go. Oh, 38. Buffalo 38-31. I'm gonna go against everything. I don't think there will be a low scoring half because I think the points will be the same in both halves. So I'm going to go with 0.
Oh my God. Okay.
I'm going against the grain. I am. And for total number of punts, I am going to go with 4.
Okay, I'm going to go 41-38 Chiefs. 2 punts, and lowest scoring is the first half.
The Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'll go first. I'm on the Dallas train. I have been for a few weeks just because they're in my accumulator to win their division. So I really need Philadelphia to fuck up at some point. So I've been on the Dallas train for a few weeks. So I'm going to go Dallas. I'm going to go 27-24. I think the lowest scoring half will be the first, and I think there will be 5 punts.
I'll go 27-24 as well, but to the Eagles. 6 punts and first half again for lowest.
You die on that. That's 6
Dying on my first half. I just think that the teams get loose in the second half, or garbage time points get scored.
Oh, this is a tough one. This is a real tough one. I'm going to choose the Eagles. I think they win 24-13. The lowest scoring will be in the first half. Number of punts, I'll go with 7.
And last game of the week, the Cincinnati Bengals at the New Orleans Saints.
Oof.
I'm
going to go 24-14 Bengals. Give me first half again and 8 punts. 7 punts. 7 punts, please.
Cincinnati is such a coin flip at the moment. Do we know whether it's Winston yet or is it Dalton?
I think it's still Dalton for the time being.
I think so. I'm not sure though, but I was basing my pick on Dalton playing.
With Taysom Hill mixed in as well.
I know he. Oh God, that was unbelievable. I'm gonna go New Orleans. I don't think it'll be a mega game. 2017. I think the lowest scoring half will be the second, and I think there will be 8 punts.
I'm going to take Cincinnati. I'm going for a really tight one here, 24-23. It's going to be that close. Lowest scoring half, that will be the first half. Number of punts, I'm probably going to say 7.
There we go. I'll grab the scores of the others. But that's it.
Okay, so all our scores are now locked in. We'll get everybody else's when we go off stream. But that is it. Cheers for that, Nick. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Right, we are getting on out of here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us on this epic show. New England shutting up the line, 29-0. Great to have Nick and Luke back. It's actually great to be back on after a week of being on IR. So hopefully we can all return back for next week. And we'll have our 2 main boys back on, DJ and Henrik as well, because it's nice to have them on as well. Please make sure that you like the video. Please make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Please make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms, on Twitter, on Facebook, and also follow us on Spotify as well. Our podcast will be up by tomorrow morning. My name is Karl. That's Luke. That's Nick. 2 and 3. Let's get the victory over the Browns. Come on, boys. We can do this. Peace out.